So I want to give a special shout out to Frostfang for bringing this to my attention. But it seems like IGN has confirmed the gay Henry thing. Now I know what some people are going to say. Haha, Lavistro, see, it's woke. It's woke. They confirmed gay Henry. And I'm going to say not necessarily. And I'm going to explain why. For those who don't want spoilers, I will stop the video and let you know I stopped the video for spoilers. You can skip to the next chapter where I will rehash why I don't think it's woke, so you don't have to worry about spoilers. But IGN even points out they made choices in the game, right, to do this. They wanted it. And I did also say as a statement that if it comes out woke, I will say it's woke. If it comes out not woke, I will say it's not woke. And the only way I know that is to play the game or watch a review. So in this case, we have a review we're going to watch. Before we continue, I'm going to define what I consider to be woke. For me, woke is forced diversity. You have to force it in there. It makes no sense to be in there. You can't skip it. You can't work around it. You're forced to see it. Well, a perfect example of a woke game is Last of Us 2. If you want to define Baldur's Gate 3 as woke, because you have the option to have trans parts and all that stuff, and there's the bear scene, then you're going to have to explain Dragon Age 1 through 3 and Mass Effect 1 through 3 as well. These are games that came out before wokeism was a thing, before Gamergate, all that stuff, right? Well, technically, I think Inquisition did come towards the beginning of Gamergate. But my point is that these were in the game as far back as the early 2000s, and it was an option you could choose or not choose. All right. Now, I will say that the only way I would say with the in light of Mass Effect, right, with Mass Effect and Dragon Age, you had achievements for pursuing romantic relations with certain characters. I will say that if there's an achievement for Hans when you're Henry, all right, I would say yeah, technically it's woke, especially if you're an achievement hunter, but you had to choose to gain that achievement, but you're kind of forced to, so arguably you'd have to do it. Now, if there's a skippable cutscene, I would say it would have woke elements. So if you could skip that cutscene and pursue all the relationships and not see the gay scenes, then yeah, I'll be like, okay, yeah, you can skip it, right? So it has woke elements, and it's borderline woke. But once it's forced on you, you can't skip it. Then I'll say it's forced. It's forced diversity. It doesn't fit with the story. It doesn't make sense. All this other stuff. And people say, well, what about the fact that Henry was canonically straight in the first one? Not necessarily. I'll get that later on when we get to that topic, because more of my logic and reasoning will be at the end of the video. But I want to react to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's romance with gay Henry from IGN. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're not, for anyone that's worried about spoilers, I'm not going to spoil it. I will pause it and let you know. The rest will be spoilers. Okay? But it won't really be spoilers. But if you're afraid I might spoil something, just hear this part out, and then there's a spoiler scene that says spoilers ahead. I will pause it, give you a chance to skip to the next chapter. All right. So.
Due to the numerous flexible dialogue options in KCD2, we will only detail the choices we made to pursue this long-awaited love affair.
All right, so they said they only highlighted the choices they made to make this thing a possibility. They wanted it because they got a long-awaited love affair. I don't know who waited for this. So IGN is IGN, obviously. You know, they're a dead journalist company, but that's the key point here. The choices they made. All right, they made these choices. Like I said, it has to be, for me to believe it's woke, it has to be forced. I define what I view as woke. You can disagree with me. And like I said, if you disagree, then you have to explain to me why Mass Effect and Dragon Age 1 through 3 is woke before wokeism was the thing. You have to explain that, because I don't believe in forced diversity.
There will be spoilers ahead. Consider yourself warned.
Okay, at this point in time, there will be a chapter that you can skip this whole thing. All right, and see what my logic and reasoning, which I'll recap so you don't have to worry about spoilers. But for everyone else, we're not going to watch the whole video.
I'm glad you're here.
But this is in the main quest, Back in the Saddle, they said.
I've had it up to here with that Chamberlain Stuffenberg.
And he goes on and on. But see, okay, so for me to say this is woke, for example, this would be a perfect example. There's no relationship options, right? You don't see it, so it could be anyone of these right now. So if going forward, the rest of these, and I already saw the video, but going forward, if they had those options that were hidden, then I would argue that this would be forced as well because it's deceptive. However, I'd like to punch your mouth could mean anything, right? And the link to this video will be in the description so you can see for yourself.
I feel like giving him a smack in the mouth.
But
Rely on me.
Then your word must be as firm as steel. But I take my.
there's another option, right? It's a timed option, all right? But
Let me repeat: no passageway for me. It's not the chivalrous way. It is
the Italian job.
Oh, come on, Henry. After all,
Well, I'm more concerned about you.
So see, here we go. This is why I say it's not forced because you can say, I can't wait, or I'm more concerned about you. But if you notice this icon here, it's an icon here saying this is a romance option. It's a heart shape with two hands. And a lot of relationship mechanics has this option. So I see, judging in context of other games, I don't see this as woke. All right. Because it's telling you, warning, if you choose this option, you're pursuing a relationship. You're choosing to pursue a relationship with Henry. You made that far to where you can make that option. All right. So, continuing on.
Well, I'm more concerned about you. I like having you around.
same here, Henry.
All right, and here we go. This is the last option. I'm skipping the whole thing, but this is the last option where it says kiss him, and that's when it becomes. You see the gay hater scene, as we'll see. So if you're queasy about homosexual relationships, seeing that two guys kissing, all that stuff, feel free to skip to the next chapter. But if you see here, there's two other options. So it's not like it's just the one option. So you have options to avoid. So if you do this, this is the gay scene. This is the gay Henry scene. This is, you finally made it. So you have to go through all these other things to pursue gay Henry. So in the beginning, you have two options that are not marked, and then you have the romance option. So you can easily miss this. So it's an easily missable achievement if it is an achievement. It's an easily missable thing because there's a lot of reviewers who said they have not been aware, they have not met gay Henry. All right. So going forward, right.
I'll bring reinforcements.
There you go. There's your gay Henry. And I'm not going to do the full thing, but there's a two guys. You could pause the video if you wanted to look for it, but I don't know if my streamers could take it down because I'm not IGN. There's a scene in here with two guys on the bed kissing and adult hugging. Right. When I watched it, obviously I'm pretty sure they got checked out if it showed it. But I didn't see two guys ramming. Now the scene, however, if you bought Kingdom Come Deliverance, you could skip one scene or all the scenes. If you can't skip this, even though you had all those choices, then I would say, yeah, it's woke, right? I've already stated that, right? I've been consistent with my statement so far. Moving on. This is from a gay magazine. I chose this one. I did talk about an extensive parts in videos, so I'll have the cards at the end of the video. But this one talks about homosexuality in Europe. Long story short, they said it wasn't from the church or royalty. It was made from towns based on beliefs, Christian beliefs and values, right? But it was rare. It happened, but it was rare. Now you could look at these ones, and I'll show you their sources: 2016, 2020, 2012, 2017. I weighed those off because there's always people that want to rewrite history. But this one was one reason I kept it. Book of Gomorrah, an 11th century treatise against clerical homosexual practices, which means it did happen. They had to write a manuscript about it. It was made in 1982 before I was born. The original work was published in 1051. Okay, so way before Henry's time, right? And then there's another one here, right? This is another one I showed. I'm not going to go too much into it. I'm not even going to read it. But the Overlooked Queer History, right? It's an opinion piece. all right, from Time. But if you scroll all the way down, and it mainly it's because it's all political. He says stuff with Westboro Baptist Church, blah, 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 blah. But, and he's from California. I know. But he's a professor, Roland Bedecourt's a professor at University of California. All right. So this is what I want to say, that you can always use facts to promote a narrative. So if you say, for example, the Earth is flat based on this picture, yeah, the pictures is the fact that there's a picture, right, of the Earth and it looks flat, but is it flat? No, you're promoting a narrative. Or you could, like, anything factual can be used as a narrative. All right. But people like to say that Henry's cannot be gay because you have to choose because of the belief of the gay gene. I've mentioned this many times. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to use this because it's in my other videos. PBS reports on a study. There is no gay gene. There's no straight gene. Sexuality is just complex. Study confirms. This is PBS. This is not a Christian article, right? This is not Christian. This is PBS, Public Broadcasting Station. All right. And here they highlight that the study says sexuality cannot be pinned down by biology, psychology, or life experiences. This study and others show because human sexual attractions is decided by all these factors. In fact, the American Psychology Association also stated this before they bowed down and say, oh, no, it's determined by birth. But studies have shown, science has shown, it is not. To give more information, the study shows that genes play a small, limited role in determining sexuality, genetic heritability. All of the information stored in our genes and passed between generations can only explain 8 to 25% of why people have same-sex relationships based on the study's results. So this right here, according to this 2019 study, it's a choice. And if you played the first game, as we found, for example, we'll use the Johanka storyline where she's faced heresy. There's 3 endings based on what you choose. If you didn't get all the evidence, you can get the worst ending where she's convicted of heresy and killed. And then there's one where if you didn't get all the clues, she's convicted of heresy but forgiven, which means she's flogged and sent to a convent. And if you got all the clues, the church absolves her of all sins, and so on and so forth. And if you look at skills, right, Henry is a blacksmith, so therefore he did, you see in the beginning cutscene, he's not good with a sword. And it shows that the lower your skills stats are, the poorer you are. For example, reading, you can't read anything until you learn how to read, and then you build that skill up and the words make more sense. Same with swordplay. As you start, you're sucking the sword, but as you get better and better, you gain more experience. And then to argue about the canonical straight Henry thing, not necessarily, because if let's just say the gay gene existed, right? According to this, there's a achievement, virgin. Stay celibate, complete the entire game as a virgin. Complete the quest epilogue without ever having sexual relations. There are a few ways to break this achievement: ordering special service at a bathhouse, complete courtship, completing At Your Service, My Lady with Lady Stephanie, during mysterious ways to drinking Father Goodwin. So these are all with women, right? So you could argue, straight or choice, you chose not to have these relationships and you stayed virgin, right? So therefore it's not determined, if you're gay or straight. Therefore, that would make sense with what Vavra was saying, because people say Vavra was lying. I covered this as well. Now, this part here is the thing would be the deciding factor for me if it was gay, if it was woke or not. There are no unskippable cutscenes in our games. Anyone claims otherwise never played them. When we play Kingdom Come Deliverance 3, when we play KCD2, KCD1, we could skip the cutscenes. We are not, or ever were banned in any country, at least we know of. In Saudi Arabia, Xbox, PlayStation has removed the game, but in Steam, it's still available for Saudi Arabia, but not available for Russia and Belarus. Now, I didn't bother checking if for Belarus and Russia that it's available on PlayStation and Xbox. So technically, as far as from my knowledge, not technically banned, especially if it's still available in Saudi Arabia on Steam. This is the thing that people keep arguing, but they're not reading the text. As much as I don't like forced diversity, nobody was forcing us to do anything, and we're not forcing anyone to do certain things. As I just said before, my definition of woke is you have to be forced in there. We can't avoid it, like Last of Us 2. You can't avoid that lesbian scene. So, if you want to say it's woke, in the comments, other than just saying, oh, it's still woke, I would like to know your opinion about it. I'm not going to shame you for it. I'm not going to say you're wrong and read and all this stuff. I want to see your thoughts and see where I might be missing something. If you're going to say, well, he said this and that before, then I would like for you to reference that verbatim so I can find it myself, because I can't find it. And a lot of people use word of mouth. Gay characters were already in KCD1. Yes, this is true. There's the novice monk Lucas. There's the main antagonist that has serrated sword, and his henchmen. They were both confirmed to be lovers in the Siege of Talmberg. Here, KCD is an RPG. You're responsible for your decisions. If you want Henry to try same-sex relations, for example, if you want to try same-sex relations, you would have to choose those options, right? You could choose to be a virgin in the first one. You could choose not to have sex and all that stuff. All affairs are and were in KCD1 purely optional. So he's not lying so far. And he goes on to explain these other things, like whether it's a gay, non-white character. And technically humans were from Asia originally, and they fled during the Mongol invasions. He says everything displayed corresponds to morals and social norms of 1403 Bohemia. It's only there to make an interesting story. As we said, there was homosexuality in Middle Ages, but it wasn't tolerated. It was judged harshly. So there is that, right? So if it contradicts actual history, we'll mention that. And he says he doesn't want anyone to smear his game. So, anyways, that's that. This is why I don't think it's woke so far. It does. I will agree. It does raise a red flag. It's in there, obviously. But the question is it woke? So far, no, because I'm going back to previous games before woke and say, well, it was in other games. Therefore, I don't believe so. But put your comments and thoughts below. And as always, happy gaming.
Worlds clash in endless collision. Gaming news with a fierce precision. With a spark so wild it breaks the norm. In the tempest side